Hey there, it's Margarita, activator for the new code of power. And I'm coming in with a message, and I actually checked in with myself and I got in a message from my star family before even pressing record today. And there was a very specific message that I'm being conveyed to convey to you. And that message is specifically for light workers. And this message for light workers is, it is time for all light workers to take higher level action. The truth is that light workers have been way too passive for way too long. They've been relying on love and light, sending people love and light, wishing people well, but the whole thing, wishing people well, maybe doing a healing session here and there, that is not enough for what this world requires. It wasn't enough then, and it certainly isn't enough now. And this is different from you being enough, because you certainly are. But what I'm saying is that across the board, light workers have been passive. And the reality is that light workers get to step up into their power. And that is something that I've been really honing in on in terms of that message for quite some time now. But especially right now, with the planetary reboot that we're experiencing, it's not just an economic health reboot on the planet. In fact, it doesn't have a lot to do with the physical world at all. It actually has a lot to do with the consciousness of humanity. It has to do with your human consciousness. And if you are just simply relying on being passive and just wishing people well and sending people love and light and being done with it for the day, or having a healing session and then being done with it for the day, the truth is that is not enough for what this world requires. Because the unfortunate reality is that a lot of light workers are very passive, are staying in their fear, are playing small, are playing invisible, are letting themselves be run with the masses. They are just part of the masses. They are part of the sheep that is part of the masses, right? And the reality is that light workers are actually leaders of light. And when they activate that potential in them, they actually rise higher. They step up higher. They actually take action. They go beyond what is comfortable. They are leading with their heart, letting their message be heard, charging what they're worth. Light workers are notoriously, devalue their services, don't charge what they're worth. They stay in the fear matrix. They wait for things to come to them, right? And the truth is that wasn't okay then. Maybe that was normal, but I'm glad this reboot is happening, because that kind of normal is kind of like the kind of normal when you're in an unhealthy relationship. You just stay in an unhealthy relationship because it's what you know, right? And this is the same thing. Just because it's what's been done by light workers on a whole doesn't mean it's okay. Doesn't mean that it's high vibe. Just because you're a light worker does not mean you're high vibe. The reality is that as a light worker, you get to take ownership of your sovereignty. You get to really take the reins of what you're creating in the world. You actually are 100% responsible for your reality. And that's what it requires for all light workers across the globe. Is for you to take ownership of your reality and your world and your life 100%. Because the reality is that your reality is 100% created by you. And I'm not saying that in a blamey way, right? But I'm saying that to empower you. Because the reality is that when I first learned that I created whatever I was having in my world, some of it I was very happy with, some of it I was not. And so that actually made me feel empowered that, oh gee, if I created this stuff that I didn't like, I can actually shift this and change it up so that it is something that I love or that I want in my life, right? And that's the same to you. Because the truth is that being a supernova light worker isn't just something that you just stumble into and then, yeah, I'm here, I'm a supernova light worker, right? Supernova light workers do not just rely on love and light alone. They do not rely on just having, a single session, a healing session here and there, wishing people well, right? They do a lot more because that is only part of the equation, and light workers in their power know that. And so this is my invitation to you, light worker. It's time for you to get off the fence, because the truth is you cannot be supernova light worker and sitting on the fence at the same time. It simply is impossible. And and I get it. It's we're on unprecedented times. Everything is unfamiliar. There are no fail safes. We don't know what's happening next. And even now, at the time of filming this video, there's the possibility that there's going to be more information that's going to be divulged into the world. So Lightworker, the truth is, whether or not that actually happens, here's what it comes down to. What if bigger information were to come in? What do you think the collective, who's already panicking, is going to do about that? It's going to go to a next level height, right? And so if you think you're spitting out now, and if you already think you're in fear now, where do you think you're going to be if you're just simply in reactive mode, just saying, well, I'm an empath, so I feel other people's feelings? Yeah, I get it. I'm an empath too. But you also get to be grounded. You get to be empowered as an empath. Because the truth is, if shit does hit the fan and more information comes out very soon, the reality is that the collective is going to be full of concern, disarray, fear, and even more panic than they are now. And so you get to choose to be what kind of light worker you want to be. Do you want to be the light worker who's still on the fence, still wants to play small, still wants to follow the masses, still wants to be part of the fear matrix, fearing your power, being scared to hurt anybody's feelings? Or are you going to step into your sovereignty and just take ownership of it, right? Lead with your heart. Open your heart to the purpose of your light, to the purpose of your divinity. Let your message be heard. Be that beacon of light that this world needs. And that requires you to serve higher. It requires you to value what you provide in the world. It requires you to make offers in the world at a time when the world needs what you've got to offer. It requires you to claim your power, and requires you to own your sovereignty. So you get to make a choice. And if you feel like I'm putting you under some weird pressure, the truth is every single day you're making choices. You make a choice to choose what you're going to eat for the day. You make a choice of whether or not you're going to react to the news in a certain fashion. You get to choose how you're going to respond to your family members about what's going on with the pandemic. You get to choose. And the truth is, it's all about your consciousness, raising your vibration, your consciousness, and being part of the vehicle that the world needs right now, because it does, to assist the world in raising the vibration of the planetary consciousness, because that's really what it is about. And before you think that, oh yeah, well, the spiritual world and the real world don't mix, right? A lot of light workers, that's another fallacy. That's the thing that a lot of light workers believe. And that's another lie. That they're not related, right? That you can be like up in the cosmos and being like all zen up in, the galaxy and all that. And then the real world is another thing. That is a total lie. And I get it. I get the whole galactic thing. I'm a Syrian high priestess. I get it. And you get to see that everything is related. Your life is related, your spiritual, emotional, mental, psychic, and real life is related, right? Because if you're in your power as a light worker, that will show up in the world in your life. Just as when you're not in your power as a light worker, that too will show up in your life. And that will show up as you feeling stuck, you feeling unsatisfied, you being broke as hell, and you not being heard, and you being invisible. Conversely, you can choose to be a light worker who's empowered, who's showing up in her power. And that looks like taking ownership 100% of your life, of what you create in the world, and healing anything and everything that doesn't serve you. So it's up to you, Lightworker. Which one do you choose? Much love, light, and power to you.